This is a technique video to go along with Protective Diet's Fruit Newtons. It's a remake of Fig Newtons using any of the sugar-free Protective Diet fruit jams. And here I have fig, I have mango, and I have mixed berry. Any fruit flavors that you want to choose from on that recipe. To start off, we're going to preheat our oven and move that rack to the center of your oven. And we're using a 17-inch, this way, from here to here, pan. This is a rimmed baking pan. Very important for this innovative recipe. This is a no-roll Fruit Newton recipe, and we want to fit it with parchment paper. Skip on the silicone mat for this recipe. It's very important, and you'll see why. And make sure this is fitted in well, because that's going to help you when you're pouring the batter. Next step is to mix the batter. Done. You don't want to mix this in advance to keep your rising agents active. Make sure it's whisked together properly, and if you're blending your own oat flour, make sure you blend that oat flour in a high-speed blender for a minute to make it powder fine. These are all pro tips that are going to produce amazing recipes on a Protective Diet. And this Fig Newton cookie crust, cake-like cookie crust, is poured onto this 17-inch baking pan, so that we don't have to roll anything. Using an offset spatula, that would be the best tool for the job. I'm going to work from the center out to the side. And if you've been practicing a Protective Diet a while and you've made the ice cream sandwiches, you're familiar with this technique. It's a very similar cake as the ice cream sandwiches, but even easier to work with. Because you have experience doing it once, it becomes really easy the second time around. I make these Fig Newtons, Fruit Newtons, all different flavors. I've been making them every single day. So I've gotten really good and fast. It's fig season here, so I have a lot of figs to work with, and the fig fruit jam comes together super easy. Now, when you're doing this, I want you to turn your pan. Remember, this is mobile, so that you can do this in a non-awkward way. So you're pushing this evenly across to all the corners, as you can see. You want to get this as even as possible so that it bakes evenly. And this is going into the oven. And don't overbake it. Follow the directions. It only takes 5 minutes. Quick bake is done, and I'm going to slide this off of the baking sheet, just like that. Next step is using kitchen shears or any clean scissors that you have handy. And I left my oven on. As you can hear, I forgot to turn off my timer. And I'm cutting this into quarters, just like the recipe states. And that was a quick bake, so this isn't completely baked through. And that we want to keep it nice and soft and pliable, because that's how we're going to fold our Newtons together. Now, I have 2 different flavors that I'm going to use today. One batch of jam will fill all 4 of these, but I want you to measure. And the reason I want you to measure is so that you don't have exploding Newtons in your oven. If you overfill them, the filling will come out either end. The figs are a little more forgiving. You can go a little closer to the edge with the fig filling, but you're just putting ribbons down the center. They don't have to be pretty on the inside. And just like that with the fig. And you want to leave a little bit on the ends so that it doesn't explode out. Now with the berry jam, you can see it's nice and gel-like. But I want to keep it in a little bit closer because I noticed with the other flavors, because the fig is very thick, not as runny when it's heated. With these flavors, I keep them, with the other flavors, this one's the mixed berry, I keep them a little bit farther in from the edge. But you can see you don't have to be perfectly neat with this. You're going to put them all on and work quick because you want to keep this cake warm, but I want you to take it off your baking pan so that it doesn't continue to cook, because that hot pan will cook your cake. So I go with the outer edge first, not the cut edge. This is the cut edge. So we're just folding this over and pulling the paper back. You can leave it attached on this edge. It will actually be better and avoid any cracks. And then fold this one over, and you're not pressing it down, you're just folding it over, and then folding the paper back over and flipping it over to put onto your baking sheet, just like that. And I'm going to show you another one. I'll do one with the fig. So I'm folding the non-cut side in first. Like I said, once you make these once, you are going to be a pro. And ugly Newtons, if they crack, are delicious. So don't worry about being so neat. Now this cake or cookie crust is very forgiving. As you can see, you can pull it back together because it's not cooked all the way through. And if it cracks, this is what you do. You press it together just like that. Or you don't bother at all and you just wrap it up. Like I said, ugly Newtons are better than no Newtons. And onto your baking sheet. And working quickly, non-cut side in first, pulling back the paper. And if it cracks, no big deal, just push it together, and then the cut side in, and this paper over top, and onto my baking sheet. And this one's got a little crack here. That's because my paper got crinkled up. No big deal. Just push it together, or don't worry about it at all. They don't have to be perfection. They have to be delicious. And you'll see when they come out, they're going to be showstoppers for sure. And back into the oven for the final bake. My fruit Newtons are chilled and ready to be cut. And we're just going to peel the paper back. If you want to, you can peel the paper back on this side. Look at how beautiful they are. But I would recommend cutting from the bottom side up. And you can cut these into 4s or 5s, or however big or small you want to cut them. I find they work out pretty good. 5s, just like that. Oh, look at those. That's the mixed berry Newton. And you could roll them right back up and put them in back into a container, into the fridge. I like to store mine in the freezer and just take out a few at dinner time when I'm preparing dinner. This one is a fig Newton, and you could also use a pizza cutter to cut these if you want to. That's kind of fun if you have a sharp pizza cutter. There's the fig. Oh my gosh, so delicious. I still can't believe how great a protective diet gets week after week with new innovative recipes. Now we have fig or fruit Newtons or big Newtons or whatever you want to call them. Fat-free, sugar-free fruit Newtons on a protective diet. No rolling pin or flour fuss. Simply mix and pour this innovative whole grain oat-based sheet cake. Fast baked and filled with protective sugar-free fruit jam. Enjoy the familiar flavor of fig Newtons or use an alternative fruit, adding protective plant diversity and convenience with your freezer stash of berries, mangoes, or pineapple. Freezer-friendly fruit Newtons satisfy as a perfect snack, breakfast cookie, lunchbox goodie, or tea time treat, or dessert on a protective diet.